Alright, so I'm here at a cafe in India right now, in Tiruvannamalai, and I wanted to address some of the questions that I've gotten. I have quite a few, so I'm going to discuss, why is it so dark? It's not what I'm going to discuss, I'm going to try to fix it. Okay, but I'm going to discuss Mavis. She asked what I'll do when I hit 1,000,000 subscribers. She said if, but I changed it to when. Mara's asking about how I book trips. Mary's asking about the language barrier. Jason's asking about how much money I spend in India. And Kate is 17 and planning a trip to India, so we're going to talk about her, talk to her, give her some advice. I'm going to start with Mavis, since, she's the reason that I started to do this Q&A. So she asked what I'll do when I hit 1,000,000 subscribers, and I don't think I'm going to do anything too differently, aside from hire an editor who can help me with the editing. I love making videos, but sometimes I'd rather not have to do all the editing legwork. But what I hope my channel is about is showing people an alternative, right? Showing people what it's like in other countries and how I think we're all much more alike than we realize. Like I'm walking down the street and I used to be so nervous about so many different things, right? Like, oh, people are looking at me, what are they thinking? Oh my God, or, is it safe? And all these different concerns. And traveling has really helped me to let go of a lot of that. I used to be afraid that someone's going to steal my luggage on a train. Like, nobody wants my dirty laundry. And those sort of realizations of, like, fears, like just so many different fears that I was carrying around that I didn't even know I was carrying around. Letting go of those, and then helping to empower people, right, to maybe imagine their lives a little bit differently. That's what I hope my channel can do, and I hope it does, is show people another world, literally show people another country and what the people are like, and because it's that we're so similar, that's really what I see. The language is different, the clothes are different, the customs are different, but like at the end of the day, we're all just people trying to like do our best and get things done. So anyway, Mavis, I hope that answers your question. As far as what I'll do when I hit 1,000,000 subscribers is keep doing it. Not much will change, I don't think. Let's see. But I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I like what I'm doing. And I like talking to people, exploring, and showing people new things. So that's what I want to keep doing regardless of the subscriber count, which I would like it to be higher for sure, because, by the way, YouTube is about to change their policies. So the more subscribers, the sooner the better. Okay. Jason is asking how much I'm spending a day in India and on what. So right now I'm spending about $10 a day on accommodation. When I was in the north, it was definitely a bit cheaper. But here in the south, I find accommodation to be a little bit more. So about $10 a day on hostels. Transportation ranges from anywhere from $0, because I walk a lot, up to the most I've spent has been like $1.50 on Ubers, because it's so convenient and it's cheaper than the rickshaw. You don't have to negotiate, they know exactly where you're going. Easy. And on food, I've been spending a lot. Jason's not going to approve of this, but I've been spending between $5 to $8 a day, which is kind of a lot. That's because lately I've been eating at Western places, like where I am now, because Indian food is very cheap. Indian food you can get anywhere from 50 cents to $2 per meal. But Indian food is a lot of rice, a lot of breads, and I don't really like to eat that way, so I need a break. So I'm spending a bit more on food now. And that's about it. So it's just like food, accommodation, transportation, those are my main expenses. Bought something for my Patreon subscribers recently. And even that is very affordable because India is. So, okay, let's talk to Kate, because she is 17 and is talking about booking a trip to Rishikesh, and this is her first time leaving the country alone, and she wants to extend her trip a little bit longer. So I have a present for you. Here's what I'm going to give you. I have a course on Udemy. I have two. One is about how to avoid scams in India. That's already free. I'll send you the link to it. But I also have a second course on Udemy that's all about prep for travel in India. That one is a paid course. It's like, I don't know how much it is right now, $20, $25. But I'll send you a link so that you can watch that for free. Because if you are 17 and going to India, I need to make sure you are prepared. But India is great, but it's definitely a place that you want to make sure that you're able to set your boundaries. So at 17, you may or may not be able to do this. People may or may not be able to do this at 50. So it's not really an age thing. It's sort of it's really kind of confidence more than anything. Luckily, you're talking about going to Rishikesh, which is very easy to navigate. You know, you shouldn't have to worry about too many things. But if you're going to extend that trip a little bit farther, you want to think about where you're going. Now, I loved Rajasthan. Udaipur is gorgeous. But I will say, when I was walking around Udaipur, there was a lot of, hello, hello, where are you from? Where are you going? Oh, come and buy this. Oh, do you want to take lessons on painting? Come here. No, no, no. Looking free, looking free. Just come, sit, chat, have a chai. All very harmless, but like if you don't want to sit, chat, have a chai, if you don't want to come look and people are asking you, you know, I think sometimes it's easy to feel guilty. Like if someone asks you, you feel like maybe you have to say yes and oblige them because it's rude if you don't, and it's not rude and you don't have to. So that is like one of the main things about going to India alone, and the only thing that I'd be slightly concerned about for you is just, are you able to say like, no, it's okay, and like, by the way, you don't have to do it in a rude way. I'm all about saying no very politely and kindly. No. Do you want it? No, 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 no. And then occasionally you have to do no. Like, because see, some people will test you and you can't give them the, they think you're too nice, so sometimes you have to give a no. And then walk away or wait and see what's going on. I had to do that recently. Whole separate thing. By the way, the guy who was following me, he was like, oh, but can I just walk with you? Can I? And I had to say, he was like doing it for too long. Finally, I was like, no. And like I gave him this look. And I waited. And he was walking away. He kept turning and looking to see. And I was like standing watching him like, walk away, walk all the way. I'm not walking to where I'm going until I know he's gone, right? He may have been harmless, you know, but like at the end of the day, I don't want a guy following me around that I don't know. You know, I don't actually know that he's harmless. I don't know. I'm on my own. I'm a female solo traveler. So I have to set those boundaries for myself and say no to make sure that I feel comfortable. So that is Kate. Oh, she also asked about being a vegan. So luckily, when you're in Rishikesh, you won't really have an issue with this at all. There are so many Westerners that go there, so many restaurants that have things labeled as vegan. Lots of Indian food is very vegan friendly. Aloo gobi, you know, pretty much always vegan. Chana masala, pretty much always vegan. Dosas, pretty much always vegan. You may have to say no ghee, but people do speak a good amount of English, which also is going to get us into Mary's question about how I deal with the language barrier. But so in general, you'll be fine. There's always someone at a restaurant, usually, who speaks English, where you can say, no milk. No milk. You might have to say it a few times, right? But like, you can get there and they'll understand, because milk is the main thing that you have to worry about, milk and ghee. Because a lot of places are vegetarian. When I'm in India, I try to eat mainly at vegetarian places so that I'm already starting out knowing that there's not going to be a meat issue. And that is very doable when you're traveling in India. So if you start with the vegetarian restaurants and then just go from there, you're only having to eliminate dairy. Eggs are not super prevalent, so it's not a big thing. Okay, so language barriers. So, you know, I've been traveling for a while, and I must say, every day at some point, I'm not understood, you know, fully, but that makes sense because I'm an American in foreign countries, so I don't expect everyone to speak English. That wouldn't really be fair. I don't speak their language. But at the same time, we're in a very fortunate position as Americans, as native English speakers, because English is a very international language. So there's usually someone not too far away who does speak English. But the English might not be fully fluent. It usually isn't fully fluent. But what I try to do is just simplify things. So if I'm trying to find a market, you know, I might start out by saying, excuse me, do you know where the market is? And if they look really confused, I'm going to simplify. Market, look confused, point, market, usually I can get there, right? That's how I handle it the bulk of the time. And, you know, it can be frustrating mentally, not with the person, because of course they don't need to speak English, but like I have a friend who in Thailand, she would always get frustrated about not being understood because, you know, if you are accustomed to just being in your native country and you just want to know if there's sugar inside this dish and you're just asking, is there sugar? And like people are looking at you with kind of confused looks, or people just say yes with a face or no, and you can tell that they don't really understand. Some people can get frustrated. But in those moments, what I do is I just don't order that thing, right? Or I just try to find a way around it. I mean, there were times though when I was having trouble being understood in a rickshaw, right? Getting somewhere or to a destination. That was more like concerning because of course, I just want to get where I'm going and know that I'm going to get there safely. So in those times, you know, but a lot of rickshaws, they are accustomed to taking people places. But actually, this is why it's really important to know how to pronounce where you're going with an Indian accent, or like in the Indian language, right? Because recently I was trying to go to a place called Mandavali. That's how you say it, spelled like that. But I was saying Mandavali. I was kind of skipping that Manda. And it took me a little while to get help because I was saying to people, Mandavali, Mandavali. I was trying to make sure I was going the bus in the right direction. And people are like, Mandavali, you know? But it's Mandavali, Mandavali. So knowing how to pronounce exactly where you're going is going to give you a leg up as far as like communication and getting around, things like that. Okay, and are those all the questions? No, I have Mara, of course. Mara's asking how I book trips, how I find accommodation, favorite websites, favorite travel bloggers, favorite place in India, favorite international airlines. I'm gonna start with favorite international airline. I like ANA. I have miles on United, so I tend to look at United first if I'm booking a flight, but sometimes they are too high. But when I've booked some international flights, I usually go through Japan, which, coming from LA, is convenient to go to Asia, and I do like the ANA. A friend of mine recently booked a flight on Qatar Air, said that was nice. I've never flown on them, but I absolutely want to check it out. So, but to be honest, they're all kind of like the same to me in some ways. Like, the budget airlines are just budget, and you know them, like Air Asia, which people use to get around, and I flew Air Asia to get to India, and it's like there's no TVs, there's no amenities, it's very basic, there's no food, unless you pay extra for all those things. Websites and accommodation, you know, I like Booking.com, really. I'll occasionally use Hostel World as well, but I think Booking.com is really reliable. When I was first traveling, I used some like more American sort of websites, booking websites, and the reviews were not honest, they were not reliable. Booking.com, I've had good success, but even more than that, I prefer a recommendation. By the way, where's my food? I've been sitting here for kind of a while. I ordered even a few minutes before I started this video, but that's a side note. Anyway, so Booking.com, I derailed myself with thinking about food for a minute. Oh yeah, but so I do like recommendations from people. So if you can talk to other travelers, find out what they prefer, that's even better, because when you're reading reviews, you really don't know each person, their actual preferences, right? Some people have lower, higher standards, some people are more picky about some things, not about other things. But of course, if you read enough reviews, you should get a pretty round picture of this place that you're considering staying at. So it's definitely, Booking is my favorite. I don't do too many bloggers or guides that I follow. You know, I really like to do kind of spontaneous travel. I don't plan too many things in advance. I like to just come to a place and see. So for example, I came here thinking I was just going to kind of stay in this area of Pondicherry, maybe do Kerala, Tamil Nadu. And now that I've gotten here, I feel like kind of a draw towards a city called Hampi that looks really cool and pretty. Oh, is this my food coming? It is. Thank you. I'll show you guys what I ordered. It's a plate of vegetables, hummus, and a salad. See, this is why my prices are a little bit higher, because I'm eating this like kind of Western food right now. So I need fresh, I need vegetables, and this is a big plate of it. So anyway, that is, that's how I like to travel. So because I don't plan too many things in advance, I like to be able to go with the flow. I just talk to people once I'm here and then kind of make my decisions that way. And a favorite place in India, Oh, I don't know. That's hard. I really like it all. Spent a lot of time in Rishikesh, so of course I love it there. It's one of my favorite cities for sure. But every city is so different. Udaipur is probably the most beautiful place I've been to in India. Kerala, Kochi was the most chill place I've been to. Delhi had the best, cheapest food. So I guess I'm gonna have to say Rishikesh. I mean, I've spent the most time there, so it's probably just my favorite. But I really like it all, and I almost think I might prefer the food slightly more in South India because dosas I love, and also like they cook a lot with coconut, which is delicious. But I love North Indian food, so even that is hard to say. Like you give me some bindi masala, chana masala, which is like, you know, chickpea curry or okra, and I'm so happy. So I like it all. So anyway, that's it for your questions for right now. If you have any other questions, let me know. I'll answer it in my next Q&A video. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe. There's a lot more to come. I'm spending the next month and change here in India, then heading over to Europe, and we'll be in the US. There's just a lot of travel and fun things that are coming up. So stay tuned.